So,
I don't know which software do you use for roasting.
we use a bunch of software across the business, but for
Okay.
roasting in particular, we use a software called Cropster.
Oh, nice.
So Cropster is like gold standard for us. It gives us a track of how our roasts are going, what inventory we have in space. It gives
Okay.
us some projections on how things like when we can order our next green bean lots. It also does a lot of the pulling data part of it from
Right.
orders.
The insights and inventory also.
Absolutely. So scheduling becomes easier.
It's really
So
good. It's
that's
kind of a complete CRM for coffee.
absolutely. Plus, there's another part of it. So every roastery, right? They roast coffee, but very few people have quality systems. So I know of a few friends who operate coffee roasteries in India who got great quality systems, and now in the last 2 years we've also made heaps and strides with our quality systems as well. So every coffee that we roast, once you get into scale, it becomes just as important that you get each and every batch traceable out there. Otherwise, what happens is you're just shooting blind out there.
Yeah.
So there's no use of any of these expensive softwares anyway. So what we do is we try and go ahead and taste each batch that comes out of the roaster. We go ahead and have elaborate systems, which in a production facility, right, like is super important.
Absolutely.
Now, tomorrow we sell all these coffee to say home brewers or cafes. We should be able to trace it to where it started off, what bag, what batch, and all of those. So that kind of helps us troubleshoot much more efficiently than anything else. So the idea is roasting is easy, but doing it with quality, that's the good scent to have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good insight. I mean, you shared because I have seen some roasters who are roasting with a 5 kg roaster. Yes, absolutely. But they are not able to scale for another 5 years. They have
Right.
been selling that only.
In a sense, yeah. I mean, no doubt about it.
But I think to scale, you need to automate,
That's true.
right?
Automation, definitely, no doubt. So the thing is, coffee has gone through heaps of automation. So before the whole third wave movement started, probably overseas as well, it was pretty automated. We used to have massive air roasters, which are like a lane long.
Yeah.
And, it used to roast coffee in like 2.5, 3 minutes, all untouched by hand. So, entirely loading from the green bean to the end-to-end data.
Yeah.
But then people came back to manual roasting. Then, they paid more attention to the data.
Right.
And that's how the whole third wave movement started, with more terroir characteristics coming into play, more origin forward, characteristics taking the center stage. And that's when it had. And then now we're coming back to the full circle where automation's again becoming important for scale again. So
yeah, so it's a kind of a challenge that I am able to understand. Specialty coffee automation. Right. I mean, both of them are not making sense together. So either you have a specialty coffee or either you have automation. But somewhere the roasters need to find the middle ground.
So I think, look, there's a word which is very important. Artisanal.
Artisanal, yes.
Artisanal always relates to small batch. But at the same time, we really need to be leveraging technology as well to get, which is why we have all these fancy gadgets coming around. We have all, so many automation features coming around.
Yeah.
So the best way for any specialty coffee company to navigate is to have a balance between the human touch and the advantages that technology gets in together as well.
Yeah.
So this is the balance that you need to have. It's not like you press a button, the coffee comes in and it's a bad coffee. No, it really could be good coffee too.
Absolutely.
Right? Because there's so much tech that goes into the machines as well.
Right.
If you look at machines like, Eversys, Thermoplan, or anything of that sort, they have an incredible amount of tech, which kind of solves the problem of consistency. But at the same time, do you really want that? Or do you really want to have every shot pressure profile through ultra high-end specialty coffee machine? So both are tech working together, so different cases. So yeah.
This leading me to the question that, I was really curious to ask you. I mean, the question might be a bit negative, but I will still go ahead.
Yeah.
Why most people should not start a coffee business?
I'd say why shouldn't they start a coffee business?
Yeah, that is, why shouldn't they? I mean,
Yeah.
No, there must be a lot of reasons, right?
I'll give you a few use cases probably without being specific about it. So I'll tell you, I don't think you should start a coffee business if you think you're in for the numbers only. Because if you want to get rich, there's a million other businesses which have better results. Right? So that's number one. You probably shouldn't start a coffee business if you think you're in for the hype for it. I mean, I've seen a bunch of people, they start businesses, they There are fancy marketing words going on. But at the end of it, right, like when you look at the cup, when you look at the bean, you're like, man, this is average results, right? So everybody has different goals for what they want out of the business. But something with the amount of ecosystem that's in the coffee business, right? If you just want a plug and play kind of business model, coffee is not one for it, so you're probably better off doing something else. But now coming to the flip side of why you should start a coffee business, the results are right in front of you. Now,
Yeah.
the last 9 years, it's been my learning experience that I've been navigating the landscape of first Delhi, then North India, then all of India now. And, as much as I'm traveling, there's different business models I'm kind of being exposed to, which is giving me insane amount of learning. And it's shocking how tier 2, tier 3 cities have these massive consumption of coffee. Nobody knows about it. Starbucks recently started to take notice. And, the independent cafes out there, they're making probably more than like some top restaurants out here with just coffee and food, right? So that's one of those. So there's like an endless permutation and combination when it comes to coffee. You can probably have a small kiosk, a hole in the wall kind of cafe, still make a good buck out of it. You can have a full-fledged setup with experiential, brews, experiential nature of the whole beverages, and still do good about it. So there's so much to explore from in between.
Yeah.
So that's the idea.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And there are like a lot of different coffee business models that one can approach in coffee when it comes to coffee. Because when I was in the exploring state that what coffee business should I explore, I can set up a roastery.
Yeah.
That is one.
Yeah.
Second, you already have a roastery.
Right.
You can give me some beans and I can sell those beans as a brand.
Right.
I will not call it white label, but because I'll have to give you some credit for those beans that you're selling, right?
Yeah.
And then there is another model which is aggregation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there is a brand called Cocoa Box.
Yeah.
Right. They started selling coffee from multiple different roasters.
Right.
I mean, I think they're still working on that. They're
Yeah.
still going. And there's no competition to that.
I think
that is another
what they
model.
do really well is they curate. So
They curate
when you
well.
curate, it's a thought of process, right? It's not just 3 or 4 coffees together and then you hand a box. So there's a good thoughtful process which goes between curating those selections, and that works really well. Like as a matter of fact, I've ordered from Cocoa Box a couple of times.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, really good stuff as well. Plus, you're getting a good variety because every roaster has a different roasting philosophy.
Yeah.
Some really want amplified sweetness. Some really want the acidity, a mythical shadow there. And some really are like full-bodied, punchy coffees. So it's always good to have like a change.
Right.
A lot of times I order coffee out of like websites like no other, like simply for the fact that we would really want to explore what the world has to offer. Just because 2 roasters are doing the same bean doesn't mean they're roasting the same way. Doesn't mean the end goals of the roast are the same. So there's a different thought process between those as well. So that makes sense. But you're right, with coffee, aggregators are out there, they're doing good.
Right.
There's also white label projects which come up. It's fun because, say for example, you have somebody, you have reach and you want to start a brand of your own. You don't really want to get into the whole capital expenditure because that's a longer term commitment.
It is.
So then dipping your toes in with the white labeler is much easier in a sense. You can definitely pay attention to the kind of coffee you're selling. You can definitely, you're still going through the entire same process, right?
Yeah.
So that makes it easier. The white labelers that I don't really like much are the ones who are in for the buck, right? So either you taste the coffee that you're serving.
Yeah.
But if you say that, I'm just going to move coffee from here to there, that's just like middleman sort of thing.
Yeah.
Not adding any value to the supply chain.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So you can add value to the supply chain by curating your own thing, right? Like, so we have white label projects in which they're very invested in the roasts that they'd like to have, the beans that they'd like to have. And that's amazing, right? Like, why not? And of course, then there's other cafes as well who would really want some specific customized roast.
Right.
They, for example, altogether, ever since the beginning, they've been our client. And we've been doing a customized roast every season. So that's like 3 roasts in a year. So that's always good. Very fresh. Now even customers have started looking forward to what's next, what's new. And that's always fun to have. So
There is fourth model that, so one I said is white labeling. Second, I said is aggregation. Third, I said is so you start your own coffee roastery. Fourth, you do it like there is a marketplace. Caramelly has made a marketplace of coffee, multiple coffee roasters. So one can start a marketplace also. Consider that I am a coffee nerd and I've been brewing since some time. I have good understanding, cupping at home. And now I want to start roasting at home.
Right.
So is it difficult to source green beans in India?
Not so much, to be honest. It's a very open market. A lot of the estates are very approachable with those. So they also have websites where you can buy smaller bags of coffee, like 250 grams, 500 grams, or even a kilo. And I know quite a few people who started out that way. You know, they started out exploring it. Plus, at the same time, the way the whole ecosystem is in India, it's very open. It's a free market. So you always have estates who are regularly guiding you through. Even if you're a small, even if you're not buying huge bags of coffee, huge tonnage of coffee, it's still okay to answer questions or doubts that you have. And that's a great thing. So a lot of times you have expos, which are market fairs. And you also have the event that's recently been started by the Coffee Board of India, where you get to meet a lot of people in the fraternity, especially the estate part of it, the farms part of it. And so many places in Chikmagalur, Coorg, Tamil Nadu, they offer extremely insightful trips that you can take. So for somebody who's new, who's getting into coffee, looking at that part of the spectrum leads to so much more understanding. And then, you get like better ideas on what to do, how to sell, all of those as well.
What roaster should I start with, like as a home roastery?
So you still have something which is a bit more reasonable, like the Link or Cafe Logic, probably.
The Australian brand.
Link is by Nucleus, the Australian brand.
Right.
Yeah. That's definitely great because you get to see the data set of where the beans are and then set profiles for repeatability. Then you also have, as you move along the spectrum, you have Bullet, Alio Bullet, you have Ikawa. Ikawa does a smaller quantity, which is 50 grams.
Also you do.
Then as you get a little more pricier, then there's the roast. Now all of these are sample roasters.
Right.
So sample roasters are great when you're doing 100 grams, 50 grams, 200 grams, all of those, under a kilo probably. But if you want to start selling it, or if you want to start, putting it out in your circle, you might need something larger. So that's when probably the Bullet, and then there's the Mill Cities, and then 2 kilo roasters, right? Those ones.
So let's say that I want to set up a similar setup. Like let's say I want to roast, test it, and then start selling somewhere around 2 kg to 3 kg coffee a month.
Okay.
But it's not like I want to buy 2 roasters.
Right.
I want to buy 1 roaster.
One roaster. Yeah.
So 500 gram roaster would be fine for that.
So a 500 gram roaster might not be easily available because the sample roasters are usually in the range of 50 to 200, usually.
Okay.
And then you have the Alio Bullet,
Alio,
which is about 1 kilo, which means you could probably drop about 750 grams of coffee in there. So like these options will at least definitely get you started. I've seen so many people overseas. They started with the Bullet, and then they scale it up. And with the Bullet, right, you can definitely do more than 2 or 3 kilos a month. You probably can do at least 5 kilos a day, at least at the minimum. So that's definitely a good way to start through. Yeah,
that's fair. Now there are, I'm sure, a lot of other ways to I've reached to this point.
Right.
I'm selling like 1 kg coffee or 2 kg coffee on my Kawa.
Right.
I started as home roasting.
Yeah.
Now there are some people who are buying coffee from me, and I want to scale it up to a next phase where I want to set up a roastery.
Yeah.
What should I do?
So originally Carabi started in a 100 square feet space.
Oh,
right. So what we have here is a evolution pretty much, but we started in a 100 square feet space, wherein the second bedroom in my house was a storage for the beans. Right. So we had the 2 kilo roaster. It was a Chinese made roaster, but it still had good sensors and everything. So I could still connect for a crops and everything.
Awesome.
So then we bought green beans, 2 bags of each plantation probably. And we had like about 10 bags. That's about it. Then we started putting those there. It took us a good amount of time to finish out our roast. A lot of it through, trial and error. Plus also we were tasting it. So the idea is, roasting is very easy. The more you spend, the better roaster you get, obviously. That's the default. But you could probably learn roasting in a day or two. What matters is two very important things. Number one, the coffee that you're roasting, you really need to have an understanding yourself of whether it is good coffee or not in the first place. That's the key to it. Because it doesn't matter if you've roasted whatever coffee, you could probably roast one of the rarest coffees in there. But if you don't understand if this coffee is going to taste right or not, if the sensories are not out there,
Absolutely.
it might not give you the perfect learning out there, right? So it goes really parallel. That roasting, yes, fine. But when you taste it, that's where it gives you the key insight of what you might need to change or not change for that coffee to consistently come out again, right? Like come out roasted again. That's number one. And second thing is when you're roasting in a professional setup, consistency is key. So you cannot have batches which come absolutely brilliant one day and terrible the week after. And with roasting, right, it's almost like a little bit of dark magic in saying that, okay, you'd be doing exactly the same thing, exact same settings, but it'll still give you a different result based on the temperature outside, the ambient temperature, based on how well your air conditioning is functioning, how well your beans are doing. Even with beans, right, they're a natural agricultural product. It changes character as months pass, as weeks pass. So you gotta mitigate the situation by regularly logging in moisture data, regularly logging in density, water activity, all of these things. That kind of then help you mitigate it. Say, for example, there's a change in moisture data. Then automatically your heat strategy changes. You know, when how you apply airflow changes. All of those ones.
Absolutely.
So that's the idea.
Or also like, there was one time I was talking to a friend and he was mentioning that to start a roastery, there's also a very good way that, you check out what are the government subsidies are there.
Yeah.
When you are buying a roaster.
Yeah.
So in this journey itself, I'll put it the same journey. I started as a home brewer. I now been cupping coffees, a lot of coffees that I've tasted in India.
Yeah.
Now I moved to small roasting at my home roastery, home brewer to home roasting.
Right.
And from home roasting, now the step 3 is that I want to buy a good big roaster so that I can start my B2B business or B2C business.
Yeah.
That is a matter of choice,
course.
right,
Yeah.
for the person.
Yeah.
So tell me some, how are there government subsidies or what are the best way to proceed?
Yeah.
What's the workflow?
For sure. So I'll tell you probably 80% of your capital is going to be taken up by two things. Number one, your equipment that you're going to buy. And number two, the green leaves that you're going to buy. So the green leaves is key, right? So that's probably about half of your budget when you put together a plan for a commercial roastery. Now, for that being said, you also have the government helping in a lot of ways. They give out subsidies for newer companies for anything which is larger than a 2 kilo or 2 kilo and larger. They give out subsidies of what, 25%, 40%. I think they're going to be announcing an app shortly where you can just upload all your regulatory documents, all your compliant documents, and they then go ahead, visit the space, and then give you a feasibility report, and then you can make the purchase, and eventually the government subsidizes. I mean, it credits you for it. So they're definitely encouraging newer coffee projects coming in. And, from what we've seen, consumption is only going up.
Absolutely.
So it's on what avenue you choose to sell it in. But it's definitely going up. So they've definitely been very encouraging about it. Now, apart from that, with green beans, right, the main reason you buy it in one go is because of the fact that we have one harvest season in India. Now, in that, right, afterwards, you might want to get all of your coffee because they usually come from very remote areas from the foothills of the coffee growing regions. So from there to your roastery, right, number one, it'll take a good amount of time for them to reach, about 7 to 10 days at least while we are in the metro, or longer if you are in a remote area yourself. Then also for a fact that these coffee beans need to be aged properly. So that's one of the critical things. It's not like the processing is done and then put it in a bori and that's about it, right? You still need to age it for the optimum results to come through. Now, some coffee ages really well in 6 months. Some coffee really takes at least a year to age well. And that's when the maximum potential of the coffee is revealed through. So all of that accounts for your planning as well. That's why you make a bulk purchase. And of course, as with the economics of anything, right? The larger quantity you buy, the better pricing you get.
Right.
So that's one of those.
Absolutely.
That's always there. So these are like the main things. But then there are like the tiny things as well that you got to account for, like packaging. little things like stickers or
The brand expense.
like secondary equipment like grinders,
Uh-huh.
sealers, all of these things.
Hmm.
Finally, you work out the logistics of the entire thing. How are you going to ship it? Who are you going to go with? A lot of companies now are very much accessible as compared to a few years ago. In saying that they have ready to use D2C packages in which the price is set, the quantity is set, the pickup cycle is set. So, and they also have like a first mile application that you can use. Things become quite easier.
Yeah.
And for I think at least we are now 2.5 years old now at this point, but for the first 1.5 to 2 years, it was just me and my partner doing the whole thing. So, but then we eventually started adding teams for it, specializations for it, and that's the idea.
Yeah, this seems like a lot of automated templates which are there by
By
the
default,
brands.
right? Yeah.
Which is really making it more convenient to start a coffee roastery now
Yeah,
in this time.
that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what should be the budget to start a coffee roastery in a tier 2 city?
So in a tier 2 city, definitely cheaper, but you probably might be looking in the window of, say, for example, you're doing a 5 kilo roaster, a commercial roaster, which comes from overseas or even that's assembled in India, doesn't matter. But you're looking somewhere on the lines of, say, 75 lakhs to 1 CR. That accounts for a little bit of operational headway. That accounts for all your inventory. That accounts for all your equipment. And then, you still like selling online. It's not like you put up a website on Shopify and sales start pouring in. You still got to market it,
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
you got to allocate some budget for it.
Mhm.
So all of those things matter. So yeah.
That's a lot of capital to have at to start a roastery.
You
Is
know-
there a hack to me starting with minimum?
You can probably start with something like as little as 5 lakhs as well. It's the scale I'm talking about, right? So that's the idea. So you can, so probably the first time when we started it off, we spent somewhere in the lines of 16 lakhs probably, 16 to 20 lakhs. But then we still had to put in capital afterwards to scale
Yeah.
because, at one point, if you don't have the raw material, you can't really roast, you can't really sell. And it goes on. Like, you still need money for the packages. And you buy your inventory in one go, but you sell it month by month. So all of that has to be allocated too.
How's the producers relations works out here? Like,
Oh, very heavy, man, very heavy. Because it's so helpful when you're talking to the estate owner directly, when they're deep into the processing themselves. Even though they're busy, a lot of them are extremely helpful in helping you understand why the coffee that they've grown has gone through a certain process. Or with the last 2 years especially, right? With every coffee being fermented to some degree or the other, with specialized yeast, co-ferments, or a lot more complex processes, wash to lab room, all of these things. You really need the producer to tell you what he did, so that you can then probably put that roasting philosophy to place. And then, of course, as a roaster, you'll also have to sell. So it kind of helps better with marketing as well. But more importantly, it's the transparency of the thing, right? Like, as a producer country, I think we're more transparent than a lot of other countries put together. It's true that we have a choice of Indian beans which are readily accessible, and there's like a good variety of them. There's a good variety of them in saying that Northeast Indian coffees are very different from what you grow in Koraput. Then you go across the hills, then Araku is very different from what you grow in Koraput out there. And then the Shivarois and the Tamil Nadu region, and then the Karnataka region, Chikmagalur, Coorg, all of these places, right? There's extreme good, like really good diversity. And now we combine that with more processing techniques. The permutations and combinations are unlimited. So that's the idea. Yeah.
That reminds me of that lot of international coffee are coming up in India.
Yeah.
How do you think, is international coffee a threat to Indian coffee? Thank you so much for watching Spilling Beans. And in today's episode, we spent time and deep dive into how to start a coffee roastery or how to start a cafe, how to become a coffee entrepreneur. And AJ was really great help in terms of providing the insights of what to do and what not to do to become a coffee entrepreneur. In the next episode, I will be deep diving into a new topic. So if you have something in mind that you want me to talk about, please drop down in the comments, and I'm going to make sure that I find the right person to answer those questions. Thank you for watching.